Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of XtalknIsh with your boy X.
And this,
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, please make sure you like our Facebook page. And as well, if you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future.
ding.
For that ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter, check us out on Periscope at X Talking Ish, and as well on my personal page. I'm about to go ahead and retweet it right now at X_Williams AT1. I'm doing it right now. I'm telling you, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it. I just did it. Just retweeted on my personal page. So go check it out. Ain't no excuses. Any one of these social media platforms, you can go ahead and check us out. So before I get into anything, let me throw it over to my boy Ish. How you doing tonight, sir?
Man, chilling. It was a pretty good weekend for me, considering my team won and is moving on. So, I'm feeling good. How about you? It sounds like y'all got a coach almost wrapped up in Tennessee.
I mean, it seems like it's a done deal. It is what it is. I'm not mad at the hire. That was honestly more of my second or third choice. I was a big Ben Johnson fan, offensive coordinator from the Lions. But one thing I do know about life: if you don't own shit, I can't complain about the decisions that are not made about when it comes from somebody else that owns said company. So it's one of those things where hopefully everything will turn the way that things should be turning on our end, and the moves that Amy Adams Strunk has made over the last 5 years have been the right ones. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to trust in her in the process, and we'll see what we're looking like in the next 3 years. But it'll be interesting. Again, we'll talk more about that next week or probably in the off season once everything wraps up. But before we get into the games, the reason why unfortunately we weren't here last week is because I did unfortunately contract COVID, so I was out all last week, but I am back healthy and I am good to go. So we appreciate you, everybody, for tuning in once again and sticking with us. Season is almost over with, and of course, we are here for the divisional playoff recap show for you guys. And excuse me. And the funniest thing about this divisional playoff round is that Ish's team shouldn't be here anymore because last time I checked, Ish was not a believer, and I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone until we talk about the game at the end of the show. But it's very interesting to me to see my boy Ish is out here with the reverse psychology. Just we ain't gonna win. This team just ain't it. We're just wide receivers dropping balls and blah blah blah. I want to hear that shit. I told Casey I didn't want to hear that shit. Okay. So with that being said, we'll get into it. We'll get into that game a little bit. Let's go ahead and start right off with, of course, the hometown team here in Houston, with the Texans and the Ravens. Texans went ahead and went over to Baltimore to try to upset Lamar Jackson and that freight train of the Baltimore Ravens at the moment. And of course, unfortunately, was unsuccessful. But Ish, and something we haven't really talked about yet, and I'm happy to have this conversation with you on the air. I know everybody's quick to think that because I'm a Titans fan, I'm a Texans hater, and that's not necessarily the case. I'm a realist when it comes to football, and that's all the teams. Even though I hate the Ravens as well too, I'm just realistic when it comes to what I see. And I was one of the very few people that did say that the Texans would win 8 or 9 games this season. They surpassed that, won a division, won a playoff game, and then had an opportunity to maybe upset the best or the second best team, depending on how you look at it, in the NFL. First half looked very promising, for a team that, let's be real, is for a team that's not supposed to be there and or just playing off of just pure athleticism, young, just being free, young and free. I think they performed well. Even though they didn't score a point in the second half, it really comes down to, let's just be honest, Ish. Again, if you were watching that game, I don't know about you, Ish, but that Baltimore Ravens defense was swarming.
Oh, man.
Was swarming to the ball. And I don't know if you saw the mic'd up version of Roquan Smith after the game or whatnot, but the intensity that he brought in that game, it's what the Ravens need and will always need at that position, obviously dating back for Ray Lewis. And, of course, a lot of people forget about a guy named Terrell Suggs, Terrell Suggs is really the guy that, of course, was able to usher in the next wave of linebackers after Ray Lewis passed the torch. And it looks like we're definitely passing the torch once again to Roquan Smith. So I say that to say this, that the Texans will be back. And I'm talking about just in the mix of things. If not the playoffs, then again, another 9, 10 wins, 11 win season, whatnot. So they're not going anywhere. Ravens are not going anywhere as well, too. Don't be surprised if we see the matchup once again. And for the Texans, I think this is a really good wake-up call to see what you need to improve on moving forward. And what I mean by that is it's not about skill set. Like I said, if you watch the game, it was really about dogs, right? It was about who can impose their physicality on another team. If the Texans can get a couple more Laramie Tunsil's, if they can get a couple more Nico Collins and Tank Dells on that team, a couple more CJ Strouds, and again, I'm not talking about the position, I'm talking about leaders and dogs. That will then help them be able to be in that upper echelon with the Chiefs and the Ravens. And I'm not even gonna throw in the Bills. We'll talk about them a little bit. I'm not even gonna throw them motherfuckers in there because they don't belong. But the Texans can do that. Again, everybody loves talking down on the AFC South, but the AFC South, I'm just being honest, it's not full of dogs. Like it is what it is. If you can take care of your business in that division, Texans, they can definitely make some noise in the AFC. Ish.
For me, it's not so much about the mentality as much as it is the inexperience. I think, like you rightfully said, the Texans were in the game. At halftime, I was definitely sitting there thinking to myself, man, the Texans should be up in this game because really they were in the driver's seat, and it seemed like they had a couple chances to get ahead and establish themselves in the lead, and they just kind of squandered those chances. And really, when it boiled down to it, to me, it's the inexperience that really shone through, especially in the second half. It seemed like from not only a player standpoint, but from a coaching standpoint, adjustments were made at halftime, and the Texans just did not come out on the right end of those adjustments, right? Obviously, both teams are going to make their adjustments, but like you pointed out, Baltimore in the second half, the defense was just swarming. What was, I would say, a fairly solid first half from CJ Stroud and that offense and the offensive line. The second half is night and day. I mean, the pressure was there. He didn't have the time. You started to see some of that. You started to see some of that inexperience that I think, honestly, this was a good experience for the Texans to have a good
learning
builder, good builder for what they were trying to build in Houston. I think this season you got to look at it as, hey, we built a solid foundation. We just hope that next year we're able to continue building on that. We're able to stay healthy, and who knows what noise they're going to be able to make next year.
And the best thing about it too, as well, the Texans are now becoming an attractable destination as a wide receiver, as a lineman, as a defender, whatnot, to help out CJ Stroud. As we talk about in the talking heads on all the other networks talk about all the time, franchise quarterback. If you have a franchise quarterback, you have a chance, right? Because it's not so much about what that quarterback is able to do performance-wise on and off the field. It's about also the different in the amount of people that quarterback is able to reach and be able to say, you know what, I want to go be a part of Lamar Jackson. I want to be a part of Patrick Mahomes. I want to be a part of Josh Allen or Tua or whoever it is, CJ Stroud, of course. I want to be a part of what they're building. And because of, like you said, the foundational year, again, as a Titans fan, I'm worried. I'm being completely honest. I'm worried because if everything stays as is, I'm talking about health. If everything goes right, they continue to keep growing. I stated it when they won the division. I think within 4 years, they could be in the Super Bowl. I said it once. I will say it again. They have all the makings, right? And as long as you can keep on building, It's right there for the taking now. And I say all that to again be realistic about what we have seen in just years prior. We can see a guy like Joe Burrow take a bad Bengals team to a Super Bowl, right? We saw that, right? But we also just this past year can see teams that are hyped up, the New York Jets, and all of a sudden one injury can end the season, can just derail certain things, right? We saw just this past year, CJ Stroud had to miss 2 games due to a concussion. He even stated himself that concussion was the worst concussion he ever gotten. It was completely different than anything that he's experienced before. So I say that to say this: is we both know that injuries are going to occur.
Mm-hmm.
If the Texans can continue to add depth, that is really the difference maker of a good team and a great team. If somebody falls out for whatever reason, can we plug and play and continue to have the train moving? That's why the Ravens and the Chiefs are so successful right now in the AFC. The Texans can figure that out and continue to keep building. I do have them as a top 4 team in the AFC. Like I said, the next 2 or 3 years is.
Well, I think that is very achievable for them, especially looking at what they were able to achieve in their first year. I think one of the things that I will kind of throw a little bit of water on that and cool it down a bit is if you're a Texan fan right now, you need to be paying attention to this coaching carousel that's going on, because a name that has become very popular is Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator. Although he's only been a coordinator, this is his first year as a coordinator. It appears that the trend that's going around the league of these, young, bright offensive minds,
quarterbacks.
He's had a lot of interviews. He's had a lot of interviews so far. I'm hearing now, and it was reported that what looked like a almost sure thing in Atlanta for Bill Belichick to land there,
still 50-50 at the moment.
Starting to look like they're looking more towards a more modern, younger coach. If I'm a Texan fan, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not going to feel good about moving forward until we get through this. Not to say that, if Bobby Slowick does get an opportunity somewhere, that's going to ruin what they've built here, and it's going to, slow that down by any means. But I will say, if history has proven anything in this league, a young quarterback having to go through multiple offensive systems just is not a good look. It doesn't help them with their development. It becomes a grind of having to learn a new
every year, especially against every year.
So if there's something I would prefer if I'm a Texans fan, I would prefer to keep him at least another year, just to have that stability for CJ Stroud.
And we also know what happens, and you being a Chiefs fan, firsthand when a team continues to be good, all of a sudden players and coaches will have to depart because they are Eric Bieniemy and Matt Nagy, of course, left, came back. Tyreek Hill had to go get his bag. Yep. It's a part of, unfortunately, being good. Right. And then it also is a part of being bad. When you're on a bad team, bad organization, folks will want to get the hell up out of there by any means. So it's that balancing act, right? It's that balancing act within sports on when it comes to how to be good for a long period of time too. That's the hard part as well too. Not just being good just for 1 year and falling off. So man, it's going to be very interesting to see how all the stuff plays out. I mean, we're not even, the season isn't even over yet, and we haven't got to the Super Bowl. And we're trying to figure out how the offseason is going to play out for next year. That's just, to me, I think is wild because of just how much more intriguing the NFL is now than it ever has been in the past. I'm talking about with the talent of the players, with the talent of the coaching staffs as well too, and also I will give it up to some of these owners as well too when it comes to saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and put all of our chips in this year. general manager or owner say, look, we're going to try to do it this year. Even though the Eagles didn't get to where they wanted to be this year, they're gonna do it almost every year and say, look, if we have a chance to go to Super Bowl this year, we're gonna go all in. And I respect that when it comes to management saying instead of them thinking that we need to, make sure we get as much profit as we can. You guys are going to get your profit. You're going to get your TV deals, the stadiums that y'all charge at $115 for parking, and all these other stuff that you guys are going to get at the end of the year. Last time I checked, I thought it was about winning. So if you as an owner, if you're that competitive, then do what you need to do to go out here and win some games and win a Super Bowl. So we'll see how it all plays out. And of course, another owner that likes to do a lot of talking with his checkbook and not his actual the Lombardi Trophy, Mr. Jerry Jones, but we'll talk about that more in the off season. But let's go ahead and move on to the NFC matchup, the Packers and the 49ers. Ish, I'll let you start off with this one first. Now, 49ers did come in with a 10.5-point spread. The Packers were able to cover that. Was this game more about the 49ers or about the Packers and the performance of Jordan Love and what we maybe could see moving forward?
So I'm glad you brought that up because I've been hearing a lot of things of people saying that the Packers lost that game. The Packers threw that away. Oh, they just how could they let that happen? Can we have some respect for what Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, and this San Francisco offense was able to do at the end of that game?
It depends on who you ask, right? Depends on who you ask. Some people still not a believer of Brock. Some people are not a believer of Kyle Shanahan, especially in the fourth quarter. There's a lot of still speculations out there.
Can we just say that it was a hard-fought game, and when it mattered most, when they needed a play, when they needed a drive, they were able to put a drive together, and they were able to go down and win that game, right? And when you look at a team and you look at Super Bowl winning teams, when you look at the makeup of your team, and like you were saying earlier, the mentality, having those dogs, when you look at that from a team standpoint, what San Francisco was able to do, I don't take anything away from Green Bay. I think what Green Bay did in that game and putting themselves in the position to win that game, they did everything right. They just couldn't finish it, right? And I think I make the distinction all the time. We talk about it all the time. Winning is something that you learn. Winning is something that a team has to learn how to do. They have to learn as a team how to finish these games, how to shut the door on teams, whether it be a team that's better than them or it be a team that happened to hang around for a long time, and then you got to put them away, right?
Crush their neck.
It takes learning that and being in those experiences and sometimes failing in those experiences before you actually get to learn how to do that consistently. A team doesn't just wake up and do that consistently. They learn that. And I think for Green Bay, if there's anything that you can take from this and you can say man, it's going to be like we said about the Texans. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with moving forward. They were in it. They had an opportunity. They just didn't finish it. And I think to me, it was more so San Francisco having that experience and just having the dogs and that will to win that game and knowing how to go down and do it in that moment than it was Green Bay just choking it away. I don't think they choked it away. I think when it came down to it, the better team showed up and did what they were supposed to do.
I'm honestly not mad at anything that you just said, and let's all put this in perspective. Packers were the 7th seed, 49ers were the number 1 seed. I mean, let's be honest, the Niners were supposed to win this game, right? Mm-hmm. But we all know about playoff football. Anything can happen. Nothing is guaranteed. Seeding goes out of the window when it comes to playoff time. But I want to throw out this comment from Greg on YouTube. He says, "I don't believe in Purdy. I'm one of those people." X and no, I mean, no. I feel the same way with Greg. No, this is what I'm saying. I'm not mad at the comment because if you're a 49er faithful, and I see it all on social media, bro. I see it. This 49er faithful will ride with this guy Brock Purdy and will make sure they throw out all the metrics to make sure that you know that you're wrong about Brock Purdy. And look, I got it. He is a good player. He is a good quarterback. He's a stud. He's whatever you want to call him. He's
a great
this, he's
game
that.
manager.
Okay, but he had a bad first 3 quarters. Oh, I would say okay. He had an okay first 3 quarters, right?
Yeah, it was all right.
The fourth quarter, he had one drive really where it was a damn good drive, damn good throws, and that's where he showed up where when the team needed him. And kudos to Brock. My thing is, I don't think this game really is the measuring stick for Brock. Again, this was a game that they were supposed to win. This Lions game this upcoming week. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think the Lions defense is the 49ers defense, the Baltimore Ravens defense. That's not what I'm saying.
Not at all.
But Aiden Hutchinson will be in Brock Purdy's mouth for most of that game. Yeah, you pause all you want to. You know exactly what I mean.
He'll be in his mouth.
You know what I'm talking about. Be riding his grill. He gonna be in his ass 24/7 throughout that game. Whatever faces you want to make. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Aiden Hutchinson and the crew out there in Detroit will make sure that Brock Purdy is uncomfortable in that pocket. Is that better for you? So with that being said, I'm excited for this NFC matchup because I genuinely think that the Lions can beat the 49ers. I really do think the Lions can beat the 49ers. I think Jared Goff is going to have a homecoming going back to Cali and stuff. I mean, as long as the weather holds up and it's not, it was raining like it was this past Sunday, I'm not calling it now, but I probably will when the weekend gets here. But I think the Lions can and will beat the 49ers. Now, my thought process might change another day or two, but really it comes down to the health of Deebo Samuel. Now, I know it's easy for people to say, oh, Brock's played better without Deebo, and Brock can do this without Deebo. So you tell me as a 49er fan, you want to go into that game with no Deebo and make sure that, and have everything lie on Brock Purdy? Okay. If you guys believe in Brock Purdy that much, I would love to see Deebo sit out. But I'm pretty sure in the offseason we'll get a tweet from Deebo talking about, well, if I was playing, it wouldn't have happened. So, again, we'll see how this all plays out. Comes down to health. But at this point in the season, we talk about all the time ish. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's banged up. So it doesn't really matter. Go put your best 11 out there, and we'll play it out, and we'll go from there. Any other words on this game before we move on, Ish?
No, not really. I mean, I think you covered it for the most part. I think everything that you pointed out about the Lions and them being able to win that game. If there's one team that I think can find a way to win one of these scrappy games against San Francisco, I definitely think that the Lions got that makeup.
It's the bite the kneecap off team.
They've got that makeup.
It's the bite the kneecap off team. Again, 3 years ago, we looked at it and we laughed. What the hell are you talking about? And Dan Kellen maybe could have the last laugh, right? Or maybe the last kneecap, whatever way you want to look at it.
Goodness.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Buccaneers and, of course, the Lions, that we just talked about previously. And before we get into the game, let's really get into what this Lions team means to this Detroit city and maybe even the state of Michigan, depending on if you're a Lions fan or not. Just from my own experience, my dad is from Detroit. He is a Lions fan, but he also is a Steelers fan. So, he has to have a team to actually win, because Lions haven't won for so long. But to see my dad's side of the family be able to celebrate a national championship for Michigan and then maybe be able to see the Lions go to the Super Bowl in the same year-ish, that is just completely mind-blowing. I've been alive 33 years-ish, and not 30 years of those 33 years, probably 32 of those 33 years, we mostly have laughed and joked about the Lions.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And now they have an opportunity to pretty much do what the Bengals did, right? But the Bengals have actually gone to Super Bowl, before they went back again with Joe Burrow. Yes, the Lions have 4, football championships, but that was pre-Super Bowl and nobody counts those. So if the Lions are able to actually finish the job this year, I would love to just go to Detroit just to see the parade, bro. Like, I would love just to see the reaction from everybody and just to be a part of it. I mean, I think that would be amazing. Again, I have no dog in the fight for the playoffs. I'm not a Lions fan. I'm not going to hop on the Lions bandwagon. But watching the fan base, watching how loud it is in the stadium, watching the former players or people that are fans of the Lions, support, because we always, no disrespect to the Chiefs, but we always see Chiefs fans and Steeler fans and Patriot fans and they're famous people and everybody that likes them. It's great to see something different, right? It's see the Lions and maybe
you say it's great. I don't necessarily know that I think it's great to see the Lions.
Well, it's nice to not have to see the same damn teams every goddamn year. That's what I think. So,
yeah.
With that being said, I need the Lions to find a way. Please find a way to beat the 49ers, so we won't have to worry about people out here talking about how the NFL is rigged, and we already know who's going to be in the Super Bowl because of the color scheme and all of the stupid crap that everybody wants to throw out on TikTok. Please, Lions, find a way to figure this out and beat the 49ers this upcoming weekend ish.
I mean, like you said, man, the Lions, they're a scrappy team, like the city that they come from. They really go out there and they make it happen. I think in this game in particular, we ended up seeing a team that wasn't supposed to be there. They made it as far as they could go, right? I think Tampa Bay, from early on, I don't think people were expecting too much from them. And they've just been able to go out and just consistently find a way to get the results. But going into this weekend, it's probably one game that I didn't even want to watch this game, if I'm being honest. I didn't want to watch the game.
It was a good game.
It was a good game, but I didn't want to watch it because I felt
like we had 4 good games except for the second half of that Texans Ravens.
Yeah, not the second half of that Texans Ravens game. But
you're being a real hater right now, Ish. That will sound like.
Yeah, I don't really like watching the Lions. I'm sorry to say. I know I get hate. I don't care.
The offense is fun to watch. The defense gets after the offense. Yeah. I mean, what do you not want to?
Yeah.
So are you scared to play the Lions in the Super Bowl if you're a Chiefs fan? Is that what you're saying?
No,
that would sound like to me.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, you didn't think you're gonna beat the Bills. I mean, I don't know, maybe.
That's a whole different thing. They are built to beat the Chiefs.
The Bills are built to beat the Chiefs, huh? One out of every
to beat the Chiefs.
Times, huh?
I mean, they do it in the regular season. They just don't know how to do it.
Because we know that's where it matters, huh?
I'm just saying they are built to beat them. They beat them in the regular season regularly. They just don't know how to do it in the playoffs. And I mean, maybe we need to start having a conversation about Josh Allen that we have about Lamar Jackson all the time.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we'll hold off on that until we get to the actual game of the Chiefs and Bills. So before we move on, is there anything else you want to talk about in this game? Because I know how much you enjoyed this game.
No.
All right. I will say this before we move on. I'll finish it off with this. I know all the talk was about the Lions, but on a serious note, I tell you guys this all the time. I give credit where credit is due. Baker Mayfield definitely rejuvenated his career with Tampa Bay this year. I mean, career highs and almost everything for him. And if it's going to be very, very interesting to see what the Buccaneers, they have, I think, almost 15 free agents that are supposed to be free agents this upcoming season. And obviously still haven't gotten a deal done with Mike Evans. I don't know if that will get done. Baker Mayfield, again, are you going to be able to perform the same way you did this year? Is it a one-year fluke? So that's a lot of question marks moving forward. But I think for the Buccaneers, they exceeded expectations. Shout out to Todd Bowles.
We
talked about him before the season started, being like, damn, we really hope he's not the first coach to get fired. Didn't happen. Won the division. I mean, hell of a job by Baker and Todd Bowles and the rest of the crew out there in Tampa for doing what they were able to do. Of course, nobody wants to hear that right now after losing in the playoffs. But on a serious note, I think they had a great season. And we'll see how that all plays out for that organization moving forward. But the NFC South is weak right now. Maybe you can take full advantage of it and continue to keep winning it and, see what you can do moving forward. So let's finish it up with the Chiefs and the Bills. I'll let you take it first because obviously this is your team and Love to hear what you have to say about this.
Man, we talked about it a little bit on the before we got on the show, and I know you've been joking and you hee and ha and all of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I picked the Bills to win this game. I'm not afraid to say that because I think there's nothing wrong with being realistic about your team and seeing the deficiencies, and also being able to objectively call a game between two teams when you know that one team is maybe just a little bit better. Maybe a little bit, they've got the momentum. Maybe their strengths are what attack your weaknesses. And I can say to you that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, they have been building their team to beat the Chiefs. They're not building their team. I don't feel like they build their team to win a Super Bowl. Like everybody wants to say, like, hey, all these teams build teams to win Super Bowls. Not necessarily. Sometimes a team, they build their team to beat the other teams in their division. Like, now, do they want to win a Super Bowl? Yes. Do they hope that roster makeup is going to be able to take them to the Super Bowl? Yes. But a lot of times, teams are built to beat teams in their division or their conference, whoever their foe is, their boogeyman. And I think the Buffalo Bills are built to compete with the Chiefs and beat the Chiefs. And they should have won that game. They should have won the game. Let's just call it what it is. And wait, hold on. Before I continue, Andy Reid, don't give Mecole Hardman that ball ever again in your damn life. He doesn't even need to be active anymore. I don't know why we brought that man back, and I don't know why they kept giving this man the damn ball. Okay, he doesn't need to touch the ball at all. That's all I'm going to say about that one. Now I'll move on. But ultimately, the Buffalo Bills should have won that game. They were given every opportunity to win that game, and they just did not want it. Not necessarily they didn't want it. They just couldn't figure out how to do it. I heard some people talking about moving on from Josh Allen. That's absolutely ridiculous because a franchise quarterback in the NFL is not easy to find. And searching for a franchise quarterback in the NFL can ruin an organization.
Can I say something real quick? My apologies.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the Bills want to go back to J.P. Lossman,
thank you.
I'll continue, sir.
Thank you. So for me, it's not a get rid of Josh Allen, but maybe we need to start having a conversation, like I said earlier, about Josh Allen that we've had about Lamar Jackson. Like, we know what you can do, Josh. You're a really good quarterback in this league. Nobody is discounting that. Nobody's gonna, say anything other than that. But maybe you're just not the kind of guy that can win a Super Bowl. And if you have a problem with that statement, you need to go out and go make a difference. Go change that. We need to see that against the Chiefs, against the Ravens, against these better teams in the AFC. Like, yeah, you won a playoff game. Congratulations. Now let me see you do it against the guys that have been prevented you from going on to win or compete for a Super Bowl. I think it's as simple as that. Like, I don't want to hear to talk about Josh Allen anymore unless we're talking about how he hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs, and we need to see him get it done in the playoffs.
So, a lot to unpack there. I'll start off with the Josh Allen and Lamar thing. You're not wrong, right? I'm not discrediting what you're saying when it comes to we need to give Josh Allen same type of treatment that Lamar's been getting. I'm not saying you're wrong on that. My thing is that the reason why Lamar was getting so much slander was because of his record, more so his record and his performance in the playoffs, more so than him just not showing up, than him just putting up a whole bunch of stats and losing, right? So in Lamar's 4 playoff games before this Texans game they just played, he was 1-3, now 2-3. But Josh Allen has double the amount of playoff wins than Lamar. He is 5-6 at the moment when it comes to playoff record. And he also has a passer rating of 121 touchdowns and 4 picks in his playoff career. So, but that's where I'm getting at when it comes to everything that you're talking about Josh Allen, where it's like, yeah, he's coming up short. It sucks. Everybody wants to win a Super Bowl every year. I got that. But if you move on from Josh Allen, like who you think right now is going to be able to replicate that for your team, as in for the Buffalo Bills? I mean, there's only a handful of teams and a handful of players, and those players are not leaving from the team anytime soon. So the Bills are in between a rock and a hard place. Do you make up a change and let go of McDermott and whatever? I don't think so. They already made an offensive coordinator change, of course, during the season, going from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady. I don't know if you saw that there was a clip of Gabe Davis talking back to the Bills fan base at one point in time after the game was over with. There was some speculation that maybe Gabe Davis could be leaving Buffalo. So if that's the case, for Buffalo, they're going to have to figure out how to reassemble this with Josh Allen. And also, they need to stop letting Josh Allen run the goddamn ball so much and let James Cook take over those carries, because this is about to be year 7 now. I think going in next year will be year 7 for him, or year 6, I should say. And he's going to start feeling like a 10-year player, an 11-year player with these hits that he's accumulating. And for Josh Allen, we talked about it where he might be like an Andrew Luck type of player. You're going to get all this greatness for an 8-year period, but because he's so banged up, he might not be able to last for 18 years. So it's very interesting. And then, of course, I saw the trolling from the Chiefs fan base when it comes to, of course, the reason why Patrick Mahomes is a Chief is because of the trade that they made with the Buffalo Bills. And it's a lot there for those two teams and that quote unquote rivalry. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't feel bad at all for the Bills or their organization or their fan bases, because we keep thinking, everybody keep thinking, oh man, we love their fan bases. They break themselves on tables that are set on fire, and the Bill Mafia gives all this money to people that are sick or this, that, and the third, and then they show their true colors, throwing snowballs at people, and doing all the other crap on the side, to where again, folks showing their true colors. And that's just really how the reason why Buffalo Bill fan base is the way that they are, because they haven't won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl, and they went to Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost them all. And now they probably will never go back because they're cursed. So don't feel bad for you. Sucks to suck. I would be upset living in Buffalo, New York as well too. The only thing that you got over there is shitty ass wings and a shitty ass football team. So I said what I said.
Then you took it personal.
I said what I said. Not taking it back either. Ish.
No, I'm done. The Chiefs found a way to win, which is what good teams do, what Super Bowl winning teams do. They were able to find a way to win it. Patrick Mahomes was able to stand tough when he needed to stand tough. Now you gotta go do it in Baltimore.
Yeah, pretty much. We will, of course, preview the conference championship game matchups on Sunday if Ish is available to join me for that, because we will have, of course, only 2 games on one day, of course, which will be on Sunday. So don't be expecting any football on Saturday. You won't see anything. So everything will come down to Sunday, who we'll see real soon, who will be playing in Super Bowl 58 in Vegas. And it's gonna be a great match. I think both games are going to be very, 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 very good. Very, very good. So
I agree.
We'll see how this all plays out. We will be back, like I said, on Sunday to reveal our conference championship game picks, and we'll be back next Tuesday for the recap show for that game. And we'll have on, and we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk, of course, a little bit more about that next week. Thank y'all once again for joining us back. And again, I apologize for missing last week. I had to get right. So now that I'm right, let's finish up this finish up this postseason, let's get to the off season so we can see the other fun that's going to happen in the league in the off
It's
season.
gonna be a crazy off season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. With that being said, I appreciate y'all. I'm about to go and watch the Parent Trap with my wife because apparently she's never seen it before. So I got to put her on game right quick. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
I'm just saying, everybody got